Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to... Do we need this yet? We don't need that yet. My review of the... It's a spider! It's a spider! I should have done this immediately after the arachnophobia, or I should have had the arachnophobia on me so I could bring it in. Because we got the spider from Stealth! Let's wait. Now we can wait, because that's going to be relevant real quick on this bad boy. 49 grams. 49 grams. So this is a stainless steel spinner. But really the first thing we got to start talking about is the feel of this guy. Because the design-wise, it actually pretty, as with most stealth stuff, a pretty aggressive design, lots of angles, lots of features, lots of aesthetic stuff that doesn't really do anything for the spinner from a performance standpoint or fidgetability, or it's just they look cool, right? So they've got a lot of a cool factor going on, if you like that sort of thing, which I do. Got something in there. I apologize. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. I'm sorry. There was a little piece of dust in there. I should say as well, this is going to be the first spinner on my channel that I was kind of gifted to review from Max over at Stealth Spinners. Now Max does a lot in the community. He's a good guy. He likes to do fun giveaways, naming these things. And he's got a lot of he's got a good reputation for good customer service. I think, I don't know the full extent of this, but I believe somebody lost a spinner. And I think he made some sort of joke about spinner insurance or something like that, but I believe he sent the guy a replacement one. He's been really good with all the stuff he's been doing with the spinner boxes if people aren't happy with anything they get. So really good guy in the community, and he reached out to me to do a review on this, and I said, yes, I would. So now if you look at most of my videos, for the most part, I'm pretty positive. I will hit on like the little negative things here and there, and I'm probably going to do one of my walk and talk videos where I kind of talk about this, but I am just in general a very positive guy. I can find just about something nice to say about just about anything, and I'm pretty forgiving of faults. So hopefully, there's not going to be too many of these reviews, at least at the moment where I've been sent spinners to review. There's going to be at least 2 more, because I got 2 different spinners from Max to play around with, and another company offered to send me one. So we'll see how you guys feel about that. So anyway, now that we got that out of the way, let's kind of take a look at this guy. So this is stainless steel. We weighed that right off the bat because despite being stainless steel, it actually feels really, really light. It almost feels like aluminum, but if you look at all the cutouts you've got on here, now there are, I don't believe these are intended for trit slots, and I don't know what the measurements are. I mean, I guess you could get something like calipers and measure it. If you really wanted to. That one's like about 4 millimeters. That one's under. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But we can measure the width of this guy. All right, so 57 millimeters. Arms 25. Buttons. What are the buttons? That matters. 20, 20, 21, 20. And then the height of the spinner. 12. So, but it feels really light with all these cutouts. So again, there are 4 on each arm, so that's a total of 16 per side for 32 in theory if you wanted to try and find tritium that would fit in there, plus another 6 on each arm, so a total of 40, what's that, 32, 46 trit slots if you really wanted to put tritium in all of these. I don't think you would. What it's really meant for is these 4 are meant to have tritium, and then these are just kind of some aesthetic cutouts. So I think, this is, it's going to be on the expensive side. We're going to get there in a minute. I don't know if these are really necessary. They're definitely cool aesthetic design-wise. They probably add a lot to the cost of machining to do all these, especially these here, because if you look, and we're actually going to cut to a photo here at some point, but you can see that? See how you can see through there? So there's some really precision machining going on with this guy to do that, but it does a really cool effect. So let's cut to 2 photos. I've got 2 photos I tried to take. So I put some tritium in here. I didn't actually glue it in. It was tritium I was getting from my tri-fidget that I wanted to just kind of put in there and take some pictures so you could see what it looks like. So we'll cut to that now. All right, so as you can see, right, the look of the tritium through these holes and through the tops is really, really sweet. So if you're getting this guy and you're not going to put tritium in it, I don't know if that's really worth it. I mean, the big part of this thing is the tritium that you're going to be putting in there. So that's a big part of the style. What else? We're kind of all over the place. Let's bring this in so you can get a good look at the spinner while I talk about the buttons. The buttons are probably the best thing on here, and in my opinion, these should be the buttons. Max, if you're listening, I would put these on everything you guys do. These are really, really nice buttons, or sell these separately. They've got this nice little dish with the laser etching in there. It gets a lot of grip. Then you've got this little secondary ring around here that really kind of helps with the grip. And then these edges are rounded. So let's take these off. So look at these buttons. So they're rounded all the way over. They've got these little tiny knurlings on the side here, but nothing that you can really feel, nothing aggressive, nothing like the XL buttons on the Spinetic, or the knurling on the XL Spinetic buttons. Really, really nice buttons. We've got a standard, kind of retention ring, what we've come to expect. I believe this ships with a stainless steel bearing, not their super hybrid ceramic bearing. So then let's take a look at the brush finish. Now at first I didn't like the look of this brush finish, but as I took a closer look at it, it almost makes the spinner kind of like glittery and sparkly. It's really well done when you look at it. Like all the brushing is going in the same direction. Here in the middle it goes up and down, but here in the arms, like it's really consistent across the faces of the spinner, so it kind of does some interesting thing with the lights here and then here. The only thing I didn't really like, I think you can see it more on this side. Yeah, see in the middle, kind of where part of it's machined out, you get these little sideways things. It just kind of gives it a weird look to the brush finish that I wasn't kind of 100% keen on. But everything else looks really nice. Now I think I would probably want to polish this down if it were me. You guys know me, I love polishing, and I saw a photo that someone did where they had polished the flat surfaces on here, and it looked really nice. So yeah, do we see that? Do we get enough up close to the spinner? Get a really good look of it. So let's talk about the fidgetability of this. We're way too long here just to be getting into the fidgetability now. It's really good. It's not a spin time monster. I got about 2 minutes on a table spin, about just around 3 minutes, I think 2.5 on a vertical spin with the bearing that's in here. I threw in that little hybrid ceramic bearing, the exact one that was in the Mini Aventador. That got me like almost 5 minutes on a vertical spin. The spin time almost didn't change. The combination of the lightness, the weight distribution, I don't know if the cutouts in this arms do something to the aerodynamics with all the flat arms and the cutouts. It just doesn't spin that fast, or it doesn't spin that long. However, with the lightness of it, you really can fidget really nicely with this. Now this is, being that it's kind of light, doing preloaded flicks, it really feels like it gets going fast. So if you're fidgeting with this and you're doing this here, this guy's really good for that. The cutouts in between the arms are really satisfying to catch there and pull, as catching on the outside. Now part of that is, if we spin it like this, you can really appreciate it. It's got this nice little taper where the arms go down, so you really actually get good grip on here. I think that was a really smart design choice. I don't know how much he fidgeted with it or just thought it looked cool, but that I think is a really smart choice as opposed to having flat arms or tapering out. A lot of spinners taper out, but I think with this particular body style, with everything that's going on, that downwards taper there really feels really nice. Especially with the weight of this, since it's pretty light, it's actually pretty satisfying to kind of gently slow down on your finger. Like I like the feel of this kind of rubbing on the back of my finger here. Now, I do find that the only way I can say is I have to walk this spinner a lot with my fingers. Because it's kind of light, you see that? It really wants to bounce back as well really quickly. So all of a sudden it's away from my finger and I don't have anything to work with. So I find a lot of times I'm catching it and I'm doing this, where I'm pushing it with one finger and then setting it up. And sometimes that happens really quick, like that. Flicking it is really nice as well. And that's a little easier because with the flick, you just rotate it back, and then while it's moving back, you just push it forwards. So that you don't really have to walk it, but doing my preloaded flick, see that? I have to like walk it a lot because it's so light, it's easy to kind of come out of position. So That's something that you kind of have to get used to. And again, that's something with bars that I didn't like when I first got bars. So you might have heard me talking about, especially one of my walk and talks, I didn't really like bars initially. And then I really started to appreciate them. And most of it was because I like the preloaded flick like this, and it wasn't as easy with a bar. But as I've done it, my fingers are good at quickly positioning my fingers for a preloaded flick. So you almost can't really, you can see it a little bit there. See how I like push it forward? I'm getting my fingers lined up for that preloaded flick. So I'm trying to show you so it's not quite as natural as I normally do it, but it happens real quick there. So once you kind of get that down, this thing is a dream to fidget with. Now, in doing the hard fidgeting that I do with this all day, these corners right here actually are a bit of a hot spot. Despite being really lightweight, when I do a preloaded flick and I'm really fidgeting with it, I'm really getting the inside here a lot because I think I have to walk it up with my finger. My second finger is ending up on this corner a lot and pulling hard. So a little bit of a hot spot. If it were me, I'd probably sand these corners down very, very gently. Just a little bit. I don't think it would take much because they are pretty soft. They're not super sharp by any means. I just find that and maybe it's a combination of the brushed finish kind of almost feeling a little, not like rough, but like almost like a media blasted. That feels pretty much like a media blasted finish. We should call it that even though it's brushed because that's really what it feels like. But yeah, so all in all, really dig this. Now, again, the price tag on this, or maybe not again, I don't know if I mentioned it, it's $110. Pretty expensive for a spinner these days, so it's one you really gotta appreciate if you want to spend the money on it and get it. If you're gonna get it, again, I think for that price point, it's definitely worth putting tritium in there, even if it's something like the fake tritium, like you put like copper or brass rods, or you do that average Singaporean's got that little I forget what spinner it was, but it had like this little rolled up foil that you put in there just so you can kind of see something through there and appreciate those cutouts, because a lot of work goes into that and you're paying for that work, so you might as well get something out of it. So yeah, so if you're going to put tritium in it and you really like the style of this, I think it's worth the money. Now, it is lighter than you would think. Again, 43 grams or 40-something grams we saw there because of all the cutouts. So that was my biggest thing that kind of surprised me out of the box. So just be ready that this is a lighter than it looks spinner, and it's got a little bit of a hot spot right here. But it's got some amazing buttons. It's got a really cool spin profile. It's really good to fidget with. Again, despite being light, you just got to be used to that kind of bar style. So if you like bars, you've already got a fidgeting technique 4 bars down, so you're all set. So, but again, because it's light, you can really get in there and jam on this guy without really worrying about hurting your fingers, because it doesn't matter. Like, there's not enough mass for it to really like hurt your finger when it bumps into it. So. All right, y'all, we've gone on, I think, long enough for the old Spyder, the old Stealth Spyder. So, Max, thanks for sending this to me. I hope everybody else that's watching this felt that was unbiased, despite getting this for free. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. We'll catch you in the next time. There, internets. Love you. Kisses.